Oh, that's a lot of light. It is a gorgeous day out there. Also, don't mind the graffiti someone did on my window last week. My car still has no tires on it, so I can't make use of this productive day. But you can, so we're gonna go ahead and do a tutorial on some stuff. Alright guys, Kevin Kinghorn here. We are currently in Seattle, and this is my first ever tutorial. Big deal. So, today we're going to be working on my personal 10 tricks and tips that I use in Lightroom to cut down my editing time. Basically, these are small little things. This is my personal list. There's probably some better things, but my list to make edits faster. So, not only will these tricks and tips help your edits be faster, but they'll also make them better. So, with that, faster edits, better edits, let's get started. Okay, so we are currently in Lightroom. We've just booted up. As you can see right now, we're in the library tab. So up here, this is called the module header. Then we have our right side module, our thumbnails below, and our left side module. The right side is gonna have everything from your metadata to your histogram, key suggestions, and like word sets, all that fun stuff. But honestly, when you're in the library tab, the only thing you really need to do is see your thumbnails so you can go through and process them faster. So what I like to do is if you hit tab, it'll get rid of your left and right module, so that way you don't have to really see those things and maximizes your space. Tricks 1 through 2 are basically just like small things that help you get max screen efficiency, the best way you can kind of see your image. And to really take it a step further actually, if you hit shift tab on your keyboard, it makes it so there's only thumbnails viewable. So trick number 1 is just basically tab, that gets rid of your sides, shift tab, that kind of gets rid of things all around. And the other thing I'm actually gonna probably toss into this trick is if you hit E, it'll expand that single thumbnail so you can view it in its full resolution. And it also works best when you hit tab and you get rid of those left and rights so you can see things as they are. So you can kind of like key through things to like see where they're at. Okay, so for trick number 2, basically it's about maximizing your develop screen space. I work on a laptop, so basically for me, having the image as big as possible to give me the best resolution and view is a priority. So to start off, I really don't like these tops and bottoms, so I'm actually gonna shift tab to get rid of everything. But I still need my tools and I still need my presets, so actually if you hit F7, it's gonna bring back your left side, and if you hit F8, it's gonna bring back your right side as well. So that way you have your left and your right. And because I use presets, right now I'm using the Visco ones because they suit me the best in the style that I shoot. Once I kind of apply one on, I get rid of that module just so that way all I have are the tools and the image in front of me. So that's pretty much it for tricks 1 and 2. Simple stuff, really easy stuff. Okay, so working with the same image, trick number 3 is probably one of my favorites. So we have this image here, it's in a landscape shot, but I want to change it to a portrait shot because I want to post it to Instagram. So if I go to the crop tool and then I change it to 4:5, which is the Instagram auto crop for portrait, if you hit X, it'll automatically switch it into a portrait crop, and then you can move it over, and then boom, there you are. You have like an image you already want, you're gonna send it straight to your phone, post it to Instagram. That simple. Okay, so for trick number 4, we're gonna do something else also with the crop tool. So we're gonna go back to the library and then let's use this image because it'll fit best. For some reason, every time on Instagram I open that app, there's always, without a doubt, like at least one image that I come across that has like a really messed up horizon line. It's such a simple thing to fix. I don't know why people can never get it right. So to be able to fix your horizon line, a lot of people just go to the crop and then they try to auto rotate it themselves to like fit a certain way. And then they're like, oh, that looks good. Boom, they think they're done. But really,
that's terrible.
So a best way to fix this without a doubt and make sure that your horizon line is absolutely straight is you can go here to the angle tool and then you can level it by clicking on one point, finding the best line of trajectory that you find best, and then boom, it auto levels, and then there you go. It's basically like a really great way to level your images and know that they're straight. Okay, so for trick number 5, this is more for like when you think you're done with your post-production, but you want to make sure your like absolutely 100% certain in the way you edit it. You want to see your before and your after, and you want to make sure that they look great. So we're in the develop module right now because this hotkey actually only works in this. You can hit your backslash to see your before and your after. So you can really see how that image was processed, how the colors are looking, and see if it's right. And even a step further than that, but if you want to see them in a side-by-side comparison, if you hit Y, it'll basically like set them side by side so you can see your before and afters. And hitting tab again, you're going to be able to get rid of those side modules so you can view them, what your image looks like side by side in post, before and after. Okay, and then trick kind of like, I'm going to say this is trick 5.5. I realize now that there's a lot of things I'm kind of tossing in this, just trying to give you guys as much as possible. But if you really want to section out your image so you'll be able to see it, if you hit L, it's a hotkey for the light box. You get two different opacity types. You have this one here so you can actually still work on the side while maximizing your images. I kind of like this, I kind of don't. Sometimes it's too dark and too dim to really see what you're adjusting, but I do like this view when I'm just trying to look at something. So if you light box it, you can actually see your image without having to go into full screen mode. And if you actually still have it on, if you hit Y, you can still see your before and after side by side. And I actually think that's a really great way to view your images and know what it looks like when you're exporting. Okay, so for trick number 6, this is actually one of my favorite tools that I know like a lot of people actually don't use. I'm gonna go ahead and use this image that I took a really long time ago. My friend Rachel No and her friend Justin. So we have this shot that I did for a client, and I'm maximizing this window to use as a frame in the image. So we're gonna go back to develop, and honestly a lot of people would be like, oh, this image is great, it looks fine the way it is. But I really don't like how these lines aren't matched with the outsides of the frame. It's kind of jarring and kind of messes up the perspective a bit. If you want to cut there and call it great, that's fine, but if you really want it to be A1, the best it possibly could be, because let's be honest, that is the goal. You can go down to transform, you can go to the guided tool, and basically it gives you this magnifying, and you're gonna basically do what's the level tool in the crop, but now you get 4 lines that you can actually draw in the image to give it the best transform. So you can stop with 2, and it'll automatically distort it to fit those frames, but honestly, if you actually use all 4, and you do it with lines on the outside of the images, it works the best in conforming all the other lines, no matter how many lines. Let's say you're in a room where you have a bunch of bridge trusses, it'll give you the best perspective possible. So boom, look at that. Square, it looks great. We can view that in the before and after. And honestly, this one looks a lot more professional than this one over here. This one just has really great frame, it matches on all sides, gives it a great border, and allows people to really immerse themselves in the shot. Okay, so for trick
number 7.
This is like a really simple one that not many people actually use. You might use it, you might not. A lot of people actually don't know this. But if you're using a brush like I have here, and I make these selections, right? So if I hover over it, you can see my selection, which comes up in red. And you can see I didn't do a really good job. It's like all along the outsides and the tops. So I'm actually gonna go down here and show my selected mask constantly so it's there. If I hold down the Option key on the keyboard and then I go through, I can actually take away from the selection I made. And I can change that feather if I want over here while holding down the Option key. And you'll see the little negative sign on the inside of the brush. And that's really gonna show you that it's a negative brush. But let's say I'm not really good at making straight lines. Like I constantly go within a frame and I'm like, dang it, and now I have to go back and I have to like select that again. But again, it's like bleeding over the side. What do I do if I want it to be a really great straight line? Well, if you hold down the Option key and then you click and then you hold down the Shift key without letting it go down to the bottom section of your selection, and if you click again, it's gonna go ahead and cut you a straight line. And you can do that as many times as you want, all the way around an image, and it's gonna basically draw a line from your last selection to the final like click that you just did. So now that we have that, it's not bleeding over the sides. Come on, go away. We're gonna give my laptop a minute because it's sounding like it's gonna explode with all this recording. So it's not bleeding over the sides, the selection looks really clean, and I can tell that my brush hasn't affected the outside parameters of this inside screen. Okay, so trick number 8 is something as simple as size bracketing. So technically if I wanted to change the brush size, I could use 2 fingers on the trackpad and go up and down and change it. That's one way to do it as well. That's a faster way I find than using this slider over here. But if you also want to like do it through a keyboard hotkey, a lot of people use the bracket. It's the same way in Photoshop that it is in Lightroom. Basically, like the left side bracket is gonna go down, the right side bracket is gonna go up. Okay, so we're still working with the same image here, and I really love everything I edited about it. I did all this other stuff in here, as you can tell, all these different things that I added, the brush strokes and whatnot. So if I hit Command C, I can copy everything I've already done. The white balance, the basic tone tool, tone curve, clarity, sharpness, noise reduction, all the things except for brushes, because honestly it's gonna change based on the images I wanna apply them to. So I'm gonna go ahead and copy those, and if I go down here to my thumbnails, I have all these other versions that I've taken, and honestly I don't know which one I'm gonna actually use as my final. I do know that I liked this one and the way I edited it, but all these other ones down here, they could be better, but I don't know yet. So if I go ahead and click on this one here, and then I hold shift and I click the last one in the sequence, it's gonna select them all, and then now what I can do is I can go to development settings and I can paste the settings from that first one to the rest of them. And basically this is just a really good way to get a base edit down on things and then start to go through and finalize everything else that we've done, basically. So trick number 10 is really simple. It's basically something for exporting. I like to export at the very end of my editing process, so that way I can just kind of sit and wait for them. So we're still on this image here. I'm gonna go ahead and hit G, take me back to my thumbnails. And I have all of these and I'm gonna put them in a subfolder. So if I hit Command and then I click on the ones that I want these first 4, that one's already selected, but I don't want these middle sections here, but I do want this last one. Ooh, that one too. Definitely the rest of these. So now I have 8 of these selected, and what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna hit Command Shift E, and it's gonna pull up my export. And then right now, we're gonna go ahead and put it in a subfolder called tutorial. The way I'm gonna label these is I want it to say Kinghorn and then the sequence name right after. So custom name and then sequence, and it's gonna number these. So let's go ahead and call this Kinghorn, and then we'll call it tutorial, and then it'll do Kinghorn tutorial 1, and then it'll count up from there. So then we're gonna go ahead and hit export, and then we're gonna wait for those to export out. And the reason you wanna name your files is it gives you better searchability, whether you put them on your website or you put them on Instagram. If your file name is like img underscore and then the name of the SD card sequence of the raw, it doesn't have that level of professionalism when you turn in the images. You wanna go ahead and name them based on location, date, your brand, your name, basically anything to kind of just give it some sort of identifiable factor. So those have now exported out. Let's go there. Let's go to my desktop. I have the folder here. And as you can see, all of these were exported in a sequence name. All right. That was trick number 10, super easy. This is just my top 10 of what I feel like people should know. If you feel like there was something I didn't include that you felt was more vital than this top 10, drop it below and maybe I'll make a video about it. If you know any tutorials that you think I should do, something you're looking to know more about in Lightroom or Photoshop, or even for that matter, Premiere Pro, let me know, drop it below and I'll do a video. If you found this helpful, definitely subscribe, definitely like. I'm gonna start pumping out these videos more, and then yeah, we'll see where it goes from there. But as for today, that's all I got for you folks. So hope you found this helpful. Here you go, kid.